Hey everybody, it's Michael Kuznetsov from CodeSpan, and in this video I'm going to be going ahead and talking about the Flexbox in CSS3. So let's go ahead and get started with some notes as always. So what is Flexbox? Flexbox is a layout in CSS that provides a clean way to arrange items in a container, much like a grid. It doesn't have any floats, which makes it a lot easier to use than a grid. It's responsive and it's mobile friendly, meaning that you don't have to use media queries necessarily, although you can if you'd like to for further customization. Also, you can position child elements much easier than you can in a grid. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. So a flexbox is one-dimensional as opposed to a grid, which is two-dimensional. Now, in my opinion, Flexbox is easier to start off with using if you are a beginner, but in my personal opinion, I like using grids more because grids offer more customization. So, anyways, both of them are good. Let's go ahead and jump into my text editor and let me show you how to start using both of them. Alright, now that we're back inside my computer, we can go ahead and get started with using Flexbox. But first off, let me show you my text editor. It's called jsspin.com. It's completely for free. Just go to jsspin.com and you'll be able to basically edit the code and see the output in real time. Now, if I was creating an actual project or an actual website, I would use either brackets or I would use something like Atom as my text editor because it's basically built or it's designed more towards projects and websites. JSPin is kind of just to mess around with and get and to use until you get more familiar with something. But with that being said, we can go ahead and get started. So let's start off by creating a couple of divs in the body. I'm gonna go ahead and do div, and then we can do one, and then end it here. And let's go ahead and create. Let's do like two more. So div 1 and okay, then we're gonna change this to 2 and 3. Alright, so now we have 1, 2, and 3 over here. Alright, awesome. Next step is to add a class and call it flex container, and we're gonna put this div outside of these three little ones. So let's go ahead and do div class equals, and then we'll do flex dash container, and then we'll go ahead and close it here, and we'll put the ending div tag on this side. Alright, awesome. So now that we have that done, you can't see the flexbox yet because we didn't add any styling yet. Alright, now that we have our divs done over here, we can go ahead and add some styling to it. But before I do that, I just wanted to say that if I was to create an actual project or a website, I would put the styling into a separate document, into like a separate CSS file or JavaScript file based on what I'm doing. But since I'm just making an example right now, I'm going to put it internally inside or in between the head tags. Now, again, this is not a good practice generally because website loading times can be a lot slower and can even cause your website to crash at times if you have too many things in your head tags. But since this is just an example, it doesn't really matter too much. So let me go ahead and start off by adding some styling tags like this. And I'm going to add some right there. Alright. Now inside these styling tags, I'm going to add the flex container property, or sorry, I'm going to address the flex container class. So I'm going to do dots because it's a class, and then flex dash container. Alright, now first things first, inside of this, you're going to put the display property, and you're going to put flex. Now, if you're doing a grid, you would type in grid, but since we're doing a flex box, we're going to type in flex. Alright, now as you can see, it's already changed direction, so now it's going across, and the reason it's doing that is because it's basically directed, the flex direction property is set to row, so it's like this. So now, but if I wanted to change it to be basically by column, I could do column, and as you can see, it would go down. So I'm going to keep it at row, but after this, I'm going to go ahead and add a background color. So for my background color, I'm thinking of doing powder blue. So we could do powder blue like that. And again, HTML takes RGB, hex, HSLA, all types of colors, so we don't have to stick to just name colors. I just don't remember any RGB colors off the top of my head, but powder blue is what we're going to stick with right now. Alright, so after this, let's go ahead and style the individual units, so like 1, 2, and 3. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and type We're going to address the flex container class again, but now we're going to add a greater than sign and div for the divs. So we're going to add a curly bracket, and inside, let's go ahead and start off with a width property. So we're going to type in width, and then we can go ahead and set this to 100 pixels. And then after that, it's going to, we can go ahead and do a margin property, if I can say it correctly, margin, and we can go ahead and set this to, let's do 15 pixels. Alright, yeah, that gave it, actually no, that's a little bit too small. Let's go ahead and do 40 pixels to give it a little bit more space. Alright, cool, awesome. Now that we have that done, we can go ahead and add a background color for each of these. And we can just go ahead and do, I guess we could just stick with green. So we're going to do green, and what this is going to do is it's going to add a kind of green background color to each of these right here. Next, what you're going to want to do is add a text dash align property and center the items as I did over here. And we can actually go ahead and manipulate the line height to make these a little bit bigger. Let's change these to, let's go ahead and do 80 pixels. There we go. Alright, now that they're a relatively good size, let's go ahead and change the font size to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to go ahead and change the font size to, let's do 40 pixels. Alright, so really quick, I wanted to say, if you are having like a little bit of trouble understanding like flex boxes or grids in CSS, I have a course linked in the description down below. Just make sure to check it out. It's going to go over everything I'm talking about right now, plus more in a lot greater detail. And I'm actually going to be going ahead and building a website from start to finish, completely 100% live with you in the course. I'm literally going to be going over how to do everything from from scratch to basically putting it in a state where you can go ahead and sell it to a client. So if this is something you're interested in and you want to learn more about CSS, HTML, or JavaScript, whatever it may be, go ahead and check out the link in the description down below, and it'll take you to the link where the course is, and it'll help out this channel as well as my channel. So be sure to do that if you want to learn more about HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on. The other couple, I want to talk about a couple more. I want to talk about a couple more things with the Flexbox. So the first one is, if you change, for example, the width of these units to, let's just do 400. Or here, let me actually show you. So if it's at 100, you can see it's 1, 2, and then 3, and there's empty space here. But if we change it, for example, 200, it gets a little bit bigger. 300, it's maxed out, and then 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, whatever it may be, it stays the same exact length. It doesn't keep going. So for example, if we have it at 300, it won't go any further than 400. So to fix this issue, what we can do is we can go ahead and add a flex wrap property. So what this is going to do is it's basically going to wrap the items around if necessary. So by default, it's set to no wrap, but what we can do is we can actually go ahead and set it to wrap. If I can spell correctly, wrap, there we go. And then it will go 1, 2, and it would wrap the third one around here so I can see its full size. Now what we can also do is add a reverse wrap, and this would basically it's not reverse wrap, it's wrap reverse. And what this would do is it would basically add it would reverse the wrap like this. So it would be 3 and then 1 and then 2. So that's a kind of neat way to manipulate how the items are positioned. You can also use the justify content property like this to basically align the flex items. So we could do center, and as you can see, the items are now aligned to the center. You could do flex dash n to align the items to the end of the container like that. And then you can do space around to basically add space before, between, and after the lines like this. Space dash around, and it would add space around all the items. Alright, so that's basically it for this video. Again, if you're having some trouble understanding how the Flexbox works, how the grid works, how any of these things work, feel free to check out the course. I go into so much detail and I describe everything, and I build a website from start to finish using these same things that I'm talking about right now. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in more, just go ahead and check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/codespan, and be sure to check out the course in the description. Alright, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.